Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm your host, Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a new Kaiser that I traded for Dave with. We're going to talk in Knife Fight. We're going to talk thumb stud versus opening hole. And our main topic of the evening will be collection goals. Are you expanding, contracting, or diversifying? Because if you say diversifying, you could be expanding and contracting simultaneously. So we're going to get to all of that. But before we do, I have a question for you. I have a new fellow working for me at work. Since I got promoted, I was talked about that a little while back. Now I have a couple of people working with me for me, and it's great to have the help. One thing I always do with people that I work directly with, yes, I buy them knives. I've bought all of my bosses at my current job knives, gotten people around the office to be regular knife carrying people. Well, this new guy I have working with me, he's been at the station a long time. Shane, great to have you here, sir. So he's not new. He's just new with me. Nick Martino, always a pleasure, sir. Great to have you here. We have Chris Blade Ogre, the Bowie lover. James Moore, Mr. Class, how you doing, sir? Quack, greetings to you, sir. Always a pleasure. Brian, how you doing, man? Great to have Slicey Dicey in the house, as they say. Dave, this old sword, how you doing, man? I got some old favorites and some new favorites close at hand we'll talk about. Caleb Townsend, great to have you here, sir. So my question to you as we ramp up towards pocket check is, what should I get this guy? I want to get him a knife. He's a very gentle soul, and I think if I were to get him something like, say, the Medford Praetorian, for instance, and of course I don't have that kind of cash that I'm just buying Medford Praetorians for people, but if I were to get him something in this category or in this category, I don't think that would fly well with this guy. What should I get him? He's a non-knife guy, but if he's going to work with / for me, he should at least be a knife carrier, just in case one of my 3 fails on me. Evening, Michael. Great to have you here, sir. So what do you guys think? Good gift for a non-blade guy, for a non-knife person who probably, has never had a knife. And I don't know. Is it the Swiss Army knife? I do that frequently when I feel like someone might. The Gemini, maybe the Gemini. The Gemini by Nick, help me out here. The Gemini, is that a Kaiser? Start him out with a concept or a Kaiser, says Nick. Okay, yes. Okay, you're talking the Gemini. Definitely not this concept. That's a little bit I think maybe. A riffle is a good idea, says Shane. Just get him a riffle. Okay, all right. So, Kershaw Culpepper, that's a good idea too. As a matter of fact, I had that in my pocket today as I was about to walk out the house. I took it out. It was just, I didn't want to carry my little leather sheathy thing, and it just was flopping around. But that's a great idea. Clayton Workman, great to have you here. I was going to mention you a little bit later, but since we know you're here, we have a new patron, a new Gentleman Junkie, and that's Clayton Workman. Thank you, sir. It is greatly appreciated. You will be mentioned in the upcoming Wednesday supplemental episode, Clayton. That's part of the deal, but I also like to mention new patrons on Thursday Night Knives, because this is where the drawing happens. This is where the Wheel of Destiny is spun once a month, and you will be on it this month. So, this is July, so next month, really. So thank you, Clayton. It's great to have you on board, and I really, really, definitely appreciate it, and I know Jim does too. Spiderco Delico says Quack. Here's the thing, Quack, and here's the thing, everyone. I'm kind of walking a fine line. I feel like I don't want to spend $80 yet. I mean, I like this guy. I've known him for a long time, but I would rather buy him 2 knives and get the Delica second. Get him something a little less expensive, like maybe I'm answering my own question, like maybe the Pete, and see how he does with that, and then get him something nicer a little later on. I've done that with a couple of people I work with. What kind of pen does he use, and what watch does he wear? Okay, pen, he just uses anything, from what I've gathered, but he does have a kind of a cool Timex, And I've come to respect Timex again. That was my first watch way back when. Hello, Sean, by the way. Great to have Sean low key with us as usual. Low key. Interesting. A chilled out trickster, perhaps, or if that's your last name, I don't mean anything by it, certainly. The Civivi Elementum for your underling, a wood one. Wood is a good idea. I think wood is a nice warm material, and it brings in, you know what I mean. It's less high speed, low drag than metal or G10. Manny Z, que pasa, Bob and Jim? Manny, great to have you here. Not much, just Thursday. North Code, we have Ryan. Great to have you here, man. I love that picture of you and your son you posted this week. That fellow there, hello, John. I'm taking very good care of it. John just loaned me this here sheepdog while he's on his one knife for the year kick. We'll see how long that lasts. No, I'm just kidding, John. Yeah, John is a military man, so he's full of discipline, no doubt. So he will be able to. That doesn't mean he can't carry another knife when he comes home, an additional knife. But I think all day long he's just carrying his Umnumzan, right? Yeah. So he loaned me this sheepdog. It is a flipper, as you can tell, by Emerson, and it's got the blades and such, Tom Engelson custom scales. Very nice knife. I did clean up the edge a bit. John actually uses his knives to the point where I just felt like maybe I'll just spiff it up a little bit. So great to have you here, sir. Thank you for the loaner. I'll be getting that back to you once I make a video. Bob, how do you feel about neck knives these days? Love them. I love neck knives. Carry one every day, but they have to be small for me. The diagnostic is what I carry. It's in my car right now, but I keep it behind my work. I have to wear an ID and a thing to buzz me in at work, and I carry it behind there, and it hides behind the work ID. It's great. My wife says, there's that voice. Thank you. That's nice, man. That puts some wind in my sails. The Kaiser Beglighter, 2 for $65. I don't have one. Maybe I should. And maybe that would be a good bonding thing. I could just say, hey, look, man, we both have the same knife. Now you got to carry it every day. Sean says, buenos dias. Something in my Carta for the Timex guy. Something in my Carta. I think you might be onto something. Also, Brian said wood. I think something, a warm material like that. Wood, your micartas. I think you're about right with that. Was going to say Spyderco Chaparral, but that starts at $96. So Civivi Backlash, that's a good idea too. About $40. Super comfortable handle, great slicer. You know what? I see him prepare these elaborate lunches. So James, you might be onto something here, because I can't remember if I've ever seen. I've donated like all the kitchen knives in our kitchenette, all the good ones. I've left there. So I've seen him use one of those. So maybe his own personal slicer might be in good order. Kane, great to have you here with that wolf paw. I think that's a wolf paw, or is that a bear paw? As you can tell, I'm not a tracker or a hunter, but I would love to have the experience, the hunting experience, but that's a different story. Get him a CJRB, preferably a Mallory design. Yeah, I love his designs. I love that new one. It's not a CJRB, but it's under his own label. It's such a cool looking knife. I think he just did a drop for it. Maybe a QSP Penguin, good office knife, $30. Now you're talking. Not only in terms of price, but that the Penguin blade is a very useful straight edge blade, sort of a sheep's foot, and I think it's not very stabby looking, right? And I think for someone who, I think that's a great idea, because I think it won't feel like too much knife for him, like it's too aggressive or anything. And the rest of the office will be like, oh, look who's carrying a knife. Quack says, I hear QSP Penguin recommended often. It's in my Carta and $32. And not only that, but I've seen that in denim micarta, which to me is just so cool. A slip joint, maybe a Rough Rider Barlow. That's good thinking too, sir. Manny, that's good thinking. Plus, I have a little box full of them right over here. I could just lift it right out of the collection and hand it to him. The Main Street is right around $65. Love the Main Street. I would get the mini Main Street for him, but yeah, I do love that knife. Hey, Bill S., great to have you here. Hey, Bob. Said I was going to stop viewing for a while because of school, but I'm a knife junkie. Hope you're doing well. Well, thank you, man. And I hope your studies are going well. You should, you know, some things always come first: family, school, you know, work, you know. Really warm micarta too, Bob, says Michael Morgan. Bill, pleasure to have you here watching tonight. I was just pawing over my super CQC 15 and love it so much. Ooh, Penguin is a good shout. Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking I might lean into that Penguin. Lean in. I hate that. I can't believe I just said lean in. I'm going to pivot away from lean in. I'm going to go ahead and pivot away from lean in and not say that anymore because I hate all of those three things I just said. Honey Badger. Honey Badger blades come in small, medium, and large, start around $25. Yeah, Honey Badgers are cool. I've never actually had one, but I like the way the blade looks for sure. And I do like that sort of honeycombed GRN. Oh man, Kepmuk Neshart. Sorry, that was hard. I like your name. Great to have you here, Kepmuk. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and the rest of the gang. It's great to have you here, Kepmuk, and thanks for the tongue twister name. I think I see where it's all coming from, and I like it. I like it very much. North Code, the beautiful Penguin. So does everyone here have a Penguin but me? I'm thinking that is the case. I don't have and have never experienced a QSP in person. Incognito, good to have you here, sir. Sup, Bob? Sup, guys? James, always a pleasure. How you doing, man? James Culp, the great and powerful. It's good to have you here. And Nick, I have two. Oh, you have two Penguins? Huh. All right. Well, I'm gonna write this down because I'm old school. Let me get my my pencil. Penguin. And I like the wood or micarta idea. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's pocket check here. I've been carrying something all day long, just like I know you have, and you know my rule. I have some crazy, seemingly arbitrary rules. Love my Penguin. Gave it to my brother. Isn't that a good thing? I love when, for instance, I just did a trade with Dave. I love when Dave, this old sword blade reviews, got my traded this, which I'll show you later, the Kaiser inversion for the Blackjack 1.7. And I love it when a knife that you really like, but you just got to get rid of because you don't use it. I love when it stays in the family. You know, I know if I really needed to visit with the old 1.7, I could text Dave and say, hey man, can I borrow it for a little while? And it could come back. You know, when you just sort of randomly send it to some address, fine, but this way is better. So I like giving knives. I've given a lot of knives to my brother as he has given them to me. So I hear where you're coming from. All right, pocket check. I had two great knives on me today, as usual. Today I had, you know, inspired by the loaner that I got from John, that fellow there. Today I carried my CQC 13 in serrated steel, 154 cm, and I got the micarta, natural micarta, canvas micarta handles here from Tom Engelson, blades in such, blades underscore n, that's n underscore such on Instagram. He does fantastic work on some ZTs, but mostly and Les George knives. But who really messes with a Les George knife? And definitely, man, he's the my go-to Emerson guy. I've had two sets of scales made by him. This and also my Elvia. So he can, as you can see here, he did this sort of cross-hatch knurling, which I requested with a bit of this like sort of false bolster up front. And this is a little bit rough. I knocked it down just a touch. I mean, that's the whole point of having it textured like this. Or you could get something really smooth and contoured like this linen micarta. Elvia handle in that beautiful burgundy. Such a nice knife. But yeah, so today I had this CQC 13, probably, well, definitely in my top 3 folding Bowie blade designs. I just love that. I love the curvy clip there. The swoop there is just so appealing. And then the second one, you've seen a little bit recently. Zero, good to have you here. We have Zero Jitter. I have the model 1929 from Finch Knife Company. And this one has this red bone. They have a name for it, and I sort of spaced the name. But it is a red bone, and it's got sort of that a faux saw cut patterning in it. And then, of course, the cool badge that's got a sapphire crystal over it, and it's luminescent, just like a watch, because one of the 2 guys who runs the place also has a small watch company, custom watch company, boutique watch company. I don't know what you call it. Luckily, which is a good thing, because I'm avoiding the watch morass. I'm avoiding that deep, endless hole that people go down with watches, because, man, I think I got the watch thing out of my system primarily when I was, a young teen. I used to collect watch ads from magazines like GQ. I'd be like, someday I'm going to have a Longines, and I'm going to have a LeCoultre, and I'm going to have a Rolex, and I'm going to have a Lamborghini, and I'm going to have, boy, man, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I did know what I wanted to buy or to have. Funny, a lot of that didn't come to pass, but you never know what life's going to throw at you, and you change course as you go. So I somehow got off the Lamborghini and Jaeger LeCoultre train. You like how I say that? Kind of gets caught in the throat. Well, hey, this is what happens. James says, I just bought the Buck 864 Iceman pocket knife at Tractor Supply store today. Nice. I mean, you can't go wrong with a classic Buck knife. I'm not sure what the Iceman is, so I'm not sure if it's a classic, but I feel like Buck has really stepped up their game in the last 2 years or so. I mean, not just in really coming out with some cool custom versions of the 110 and the 112 and making a whole custom shop on their website, but also their new designs are just really nice. From some of their high-end S35 VN, like they have that bolster switchblade for $200, but they also have some new $30 offerings that are just so nicely done, James. It's also nice to see you vary it. I know you're a big I want to say Adirondack Trail. What am I? The Ozark Trail guy. So it's nice to see you change things up, just like it was nice to see Brant get something other than a hinderer when he stepped out on Rick and bought a Jake Hoback knife. So, James, I want to see that knife. I want to see you post it. Let's see it. I want to see it. Nick says, today was the S90V carbon fiber Shaman. The White River knife, White River M1 caper with Dayglow G10, Olight Warrior Mini, and my Leatherman Raptor. Man, nice. The White River M1. That's cool. I like the White River. That's a fixie, right? That's a fixed blade knife. Fixie. I don't like that either. Why am I saying all these things that I don't like? I do like the White Mountain knives, though. Today I had the Keennison Stray and Microtech Utx 70 with the Spartan Blade. That is cool. That Spartan Blade, I have to say, is pretty cool with the the sort of angular dagger, the sort of faux, what is it? Gladius. It looks like a Gladius. Love that. I had the American Blade Works Model 1 version 6 today. Shocking, I know. So I know that Brian was holding off on getting an American Blade Works because that Model 1, he kept moving it through iteration after iteration. And when I think version 6 was kind of where he stopped it and said, okay, this is just about as perfect as it's going to get. And I'm not surprised that that's when Brian Got it, and I'm not surprised it hasn't left his pocket because it's an awesome knife. Today I had the off-grid Cayman and the off-grid Scorpion. I have the Cayman close at hand. What's the Scorpion? I don't remember what that... Oh, the Scorpion. Yeah, the premium one. I have that one in my case, but this one, I just shot my review of this. Not review. I don't review. I do close-up videos because even when I don't like a knife, I end up gushing about it usually. So I'm calling my videos close-up videos because I like to get close up and show them off and talk about them, like the Cayman. And what was the other one? I'm sorry. Oh, the Scorpion. That's right. So check out the video. It's coming out tomorrow at 2:30. Here's a spoiler alert. I dig it. Clayton says, today I had the off-grid. Oh, okay. Yeah. Off-grid Cayman and off-grid Scorpion. Leek is a great office knife. Yes, it is. The Leek. Hey, Big Staff. Great to have you here. 8/19. Is that your birthday? Not that it's any of my business, but just curious. That's kind of how I date files at work. And the one thing about the Leek, and I do love the Leek, is the not the automatic, but the assisted open. I actually kind of think the assisted open might be a bit too much for this fella here. So that's my one caveat to that. The bone collector is Nightcrawler. That bone collector, I'm sorry, what am I talking about? That bone color is Nightcrawler. Yes, Nightcrawler. And you know what? It really does kind of look like an earthworm, doesn't it? It's kind of translucent. You can see like it's sort of reddish towards the top, and then it gets sort of pinkish and fleshy kind of the deeper you look into it. Nightcrawler. I got to remember that. Nightcrawler. Got it. Manny Z said, and thank you for the info, by the way. Manny Z says, I pulled my carbon fiber Skaha out of the drawer this morning. It doesn't weigh a thing. Paired it with the Rex 45 Shaman. Nice combination. The Skaha, man, you don't hear about them anymore. Those guys, North. Those guys, the guys who make the Skaha, father and son team. I love father and son teams. And actually, I know that they did a lot of kitchen knives. So maybe that's why I haven't been hearing from them recently. I only really knew about them from the Skaha. North, what is it? North. Damn, I know you're all yelling at your screens right now. Emerson CQC7, nice. Sheepdog Bowie, nice. Benchmade 940. Oh my God, come on, Blade Ogre. 511 Doug Markite Talon Folding Karambit, Boker Solingen Copperhead. Full boat today. Okay, two Emersons, a Benchmade, a 511, and a Boker. Man, 5 knives. That's beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye. Microbrand is what they call it in the watch world. Thank you, Microbrand. Raven watches, I think is what it's called. The Microbrand associated with Finch Knife Company. I think it's John over there. The Reich P865. Love that knife. Slender Warncliffe. I gave that or sold it. I guess I sold that. Kind of would love to still have that. 14C28M for $35 and a Ferrum Forge Lackey in 9CR 18 MOV. How do you like the 9CR? Curious. How do you like that 9CR MOV, 18 MOV? But yeah, that Reich P865, I did a review of that somewhere back on the channel, and I loved that knife. But not enough to keep it. Something else was pulling my attention. Carried my Skiff Drifter and an S90V Little Native today. That's a good, I like that combination. Different lock types, different sizes, different lengths, and also different kind of different universes in terms of price and what goes into making them. That's kind of how I like to carry cane. I like, you know what I'm saying. Blade Hobby says, you know what I'm saying. The thing. Blade Hobby says, hello, everyone. Hey, Blade Hobby. Great to have you here, as always. Just have one on me tonight. Have my ZT0640. Well, if you're going to have one, that's a good one to have, with OD Green micarta scales to replace the split split pea soup micarta that it ships with. Bronze anno frame, very nice, and MXG gear clip. Love that. Milled bronze pocket clip. Awesome. They make such good clips. I heard someone once wrote on a review I did of MXG gear clips that they were brittle. I haven't had that experience, though. I have had the experience of snagging the clips on things. The worst thing for me is, the part of the door jamb that has the little metal plate that the door thing fits into. That little part that goes around the door jamb catches my, that's the worst. That is the worst. I've broken clips doing that. This old sword says, from Russia with love, carrying my new dagger knives vendetta. That is a cool looking knife. Very cool looking knife. I saw you put a Instagram picture of that up today, I think. Too bad that's not double-edged, but I realize with that slender handle, you can't have that double-edged. Wow, you said the proper name of GLC correctly. I've never been so proud. Oh, Jaeger LeCoultre. Oh man, JLC. Well, don't go that far, man. I've heard that those things are like, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Somebody send Bob a Lamborghini already. Thank you, Sean. Jeez, I didn't want to say it myself because I'm a proud man, but thank you. Oh, speaking of being proud, please hit the like button. If you're here right now and you're watching it, that means like you've gone this far. Hit the like button, please. It'll help. Nick Martino says, "Oh, Bob, I don't know if you've seen the new Boker double-edged fixed blade boot knife." Ooh, I have not. It's nice. Is it a smaller version of the Fairbairn, not the Fairbairn Sykes, but the other one? The thing. Well, is it? Let me know. The classic. The classic. I would love to. I love daggers. I didn't bring any out tonight, I don't think. But I have a lot of double edgies here. I got a dagger that bent in the wash right here. My name's JN. I only carried 3 knives today. JN, what'd you carry today? What'd you carry? Come on. You got to let me know. Now you're leaving me hanging. Shane says S90V Native Chief, Mannix XL, and Tops 3 Brothers Warney around the neck. That 3 Bros is an interesting thing because I think you get them all, right? You get a clip point, a Warncliffe, and a Tanto, I think, and they all have like a little kind of circular bit of G10 or micarta or something as the handle. But 2 Spydercos, isn't that a little indulgent? I don't know. I don't mean to be judgy, but Kepmuk says Becker BK18. I like. Oh wait, no wait. I don't know that knife. I don't know which Becker that is. I was thinking of the BK40. LT Wright Small Northern Hunter and my green Eldris. Nice. I love LT Wright, and senior moment again. I mean, they're happening more and more, guys, as I near my birthday next month. Speaking of my birthday, we are cooking up a birthday bash. It will be a town hall to end all town halls. So just keep your knob tuned here. But what I was going to say is David C. Anderson's brand. He makes his own brand of knives, designs them, and LT Wright makes them. Nordic knives, awesome. And to have LT Wright make your knives, that's pretty cool. So check those out. Jared, also a recent Gentleman Junkie. Thanks again, Jared. Carrying the Spy Opera and the Lion Steel Best Man with micarta inlays. Very nice. And I see the theme, right? Because the Spy Opera is a Spyderco and Lion Steel collaboration, right? I think it is. And then you have the Best Man, which is a cool knife. Eldris, Freak, and the Hunter, Swiss Army Knife Hunter. Nice. Was in skittish company. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so you had to keep it somewhat pedestrian so that people didn't freak out. Yeah, Cutmuck, red one on the belt. Oh, get out of here. Yeah, my birthday is coming up August 16th. He laughs. Nick Martino. Nick Martino, that is my sister's birthday, and my birthday is August 17th. So, Leo brother, put her there. And you know what? Jim's birthday is also in August. So, I mean, you know, it's a gathering of lions here. North. Bob, 2021. Quoting me. So please tell me, North, who is it? North Arms Knives, right? Am I right? I know I'm right. North Arms, North Wind. I carried my Vaquero today. Nice, incognito, as always. And the Cold Steel Tanto Airlight. I love the look of that Tanto Airlight. I like that kind of Tanto. It reminds me a bit of the Chris Reeve style Tanto, where it just kind of comes to an abrupt end and goes north, and it's just a wedge there. I think that's a really cool way of making a Tanto. Shane says, any blade under 3.5 inches is a letter opener. And I'm not a secretary. Shane, I like the way you think, sir. You are stout of heart and spirit. This is what I carried to the office today. Just kidding. Just an excuse to show it off. Unless you were just thinking North Arm Skaha. North Arm. Yes. Yeah, the Skaha. North Arm. Thank you, guys. Geez, you like to see me dangle in the wind. I appreciate it. North Arm. Yeah. Did I say arms? Like more than one? Carrying the Shaman and the Micro Evo Typhoon. Ooh, we have an aristocrat amongst us. That Evo Typhoon is so cool. Everything by Sharp by Design is just beyond cool. I need to get something by him. The BK-18 is the Tan Harpoon. Okay. All right. That helps. August 16th. When's yours? Oh, August 17th. We just had this discussion. I think that's a comment that came up before I mentioned that. Yeah, the 17th. Yeah, love it. Love it. I love August. Yvonne, good to have you here, sir. Knife Addict Life. Is it Yvonne? That's what I'm saying. And you know what? Well, good evening to you too, sir. This is something. This is a characteristic I got from my mother. Like if she thinks something should be pronounced a certain way, that's how she'll pronounce it. Like it's not Nagy, it's Naj, and that might be correct, but in this country they say Nagy. That kind of thing. Sean says Sog Tax California Special. Sog Tax California Special. So is that a little tiny switchblade? What is that? I'm thinking that California Special is going to be a small bladed switchblade knife. Carried the Cuff 3.0 today. Cuff. It'll come back to me. I know it's good. I know it's like extra good, but what the hell is it? The Cuff. Yvonne. Hopefully that's your name. And not Javon's. So the Cuff, damn it. What is the Cuff? Hang on. Let me do this. I know it's kind of antisocial to just dip out, but Cuff 3.0. I'm just looking it up real quickly. I'm not doing anything. You know, we're all on the, oh yes, the kitchen utility knife, a kitchen utility folder from very nice. Very nice. That is my my knife Instagram page. Okay. Well, I applaud the Cuff selection. I always thought that was a really cool knife. It'd be like great to have right next to your Spidey chef. It actually looks more like a chef's knife and probably is more useful as a chef knife as Liang Ma himself is a chef. Bob needs some Folgers. Folgers is not going to help this. I need some sort of medication, I think. Just kidding. I want to try and live as long as I can without taking those because I hear that's a slippery slope. Coming up Sunday on episode 236, we have Israel Bacchus of Arcane Design. The designer of this knife, the beautiful daggery knife here. Well, he made this with Something Obscene Company, so he does not claim full credit on this, but I know that he did design this, and I believe that that Something Obscene Company helped him get this produced. But I absolutely love this knife, and I'm going to put it down. So yeah, we have Israel back on the show. I bumped into him at Blade Show. We had a great conversation, and he just dropped the Crawler about 3 weeks ago, and it sold out in 2 hours. And so I thought that was a cool thing. Great accomplishment. Had him back on the show, and we just chatted, had a great conversation. Got into some interesting stuff, talk a little bit metaphysically, maybe just a touch. We glance on the metaphysics there, talk about some of his inspirations. You know, he's into the sci-fi and he's into the fantasy and that kind of stuff. And yeah, we had a great conversation. So check it out. That's coming up on Sunday, episode 236. And incidentally, if you're interested ever in getting not liner notes, it's not a record album I'm putting out. If you're ever interested in checking out the show notes or anything else pertaining to that episode, or if you just want to check the episode again, you go to thenifejunkie.com/236. You can do that with every single episode. Jim diligently logs everything and puts it up there on the site, and that's how you get to it. So there you have it. All right, so I've mentioned that. I've also mentioned Clayton Workman, our new Gentleman Junkie. Thank you, Clayton. It's a pleasure. And so now I would love to find out from you about your collection goals. I know a lot of us bristle at the term collector or collection because, well, we like to think of ourselves as rough and tumble guys and gals who use our shit, as they hashtag, and you know, I got no time for collecting because I'm too busy out there cutting stuff. I'm too busy being out there using my knives. I don't collect. But I know that you mostly do collect. And so, and I'm not saying that you don't use your knives, but I'm saying you probably have more than you need, unless you're that fellow there who is using one knife this entire year. And I do applaud him. I don't know if it's not a calendar year thing. It's a year from when he started, which was about a month ago. He being the exception. Tell me what you are looking to do. Are you looking to expand your collection? Do you have or contract your collection, or do you have just a collection of Spydercos, or just a collection of like CQC7s or something, you know, like that? Or are you looking to diversify? Well, since you asked, I'll tell you my situation, and then I want to find out about yours. I am always in a state of wishing I could contract my collection. Nick says 200% growing and never letting go. That's the spirit. I love them all, and there are so many more that I want. Okay, Nick. You are in the acquisitive part of life where you're just like doing this, and I get that. I am spiritually contracting, spiritually trying to reduce and refine. Sean is currently in the ADHD stage of knife collecting. So for you, that's kind of like your attention is pulled in a number of different directions. I think I'm in a permanent state of that with mine, and I'm just calling that a constant diversification, because I like stuff like this. I like stuff like this. I like stuff like this. You know, I'm just all over the place. I like it all and want it all, but I also want a small collection. Andrew, great to have you here. I think I'm going to get into trading. I've done so little trading, but man, is my heart in it. It's so rewarding. Like with Dave, just traded my blackjack version of the 1.7. And since I love Randall's so much, you know, I just decided I would buy a Randall and then get rid of the, get rid of the blackjack, which was an amazing version of it, but just I figured. So, you know, Dave said, take a look at my page. I'd love to get that blackjack from you, but let's trade instead of trading cash. And I thought that's a capital idea. So we looked into it, and he had me troll his pages. I think I mentioned this last week. And I, of course, picked all of the unobtainium first. And he was like, nice try, but let's be realistic. And then I saw the inversion, and I thought, I want the inversion, and I don't want to pay for it. And I want to unload this knife. I just had to reset the knife cam. It's been a troublesome path with the knife cam here, but I'll fill you in on it another time. Big Staff says, I've been buying a ton of different Spydercos the last 2 months. I picked up a smock yesterday, and I am in love. Jim, is this working? Awesome. Okay, it's a little cattywampus, but at least it's working. So speaking of smock, Blade HQ has their version, their M4 version of it out, and that looks pretty damn appealing, I gotta say. So Big Staff, would you say you are a Spyderco collector, or are you just in the Spyderco phase? JN, I contracted a case of knife collection. Yeah, that's the way to put it, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember. I was drinking. It was, I don't know. It just happened. I am a knife addict. I seem to have many come in and few go out. I have a sickness. I know what you mean. I have, do you do this? Like, well, I better just get this knife because it won't be available. And then I'll make sure that I get rid of this and this later, once, because I have to rush and get this right now because it won't be there. And then later comes and you're like, yeah, but it's so good. And it's the only one that has the thing and I can't get rid of it. Still haven't spent more than $300 on a knife. Well, I bet you've spent over $300 on multiple knives, Michael. But that's a good thing. I mean, I don't know. Is that supposed to be virtuous, Michael? Are you lecturing me for being a fool with my money? I'm just kidding. I have spent more than $300 on a knife, but not that often. Nick Martino says, see, but I've only been heavy in this for maybe a year and a half. You've been into knives a lot longer. That is true. And I think I'm considerably older, Nick, so I've had a chance to accumulate a lot more. Caleb says, I don't really have a goal for my collection. If I try it, if I like it, I try to get one. I feel like if I am actively trying to diversify, then I would be buying knives I wouldn't really enjoy. That's interesting because you, Caleb, when you came on the show a little while ago, you seem to have a really diverse collection obviously without trying to. You've got bally songs, you've got some really expensive, exclusive prestige pieces. You have some really cool users and some hard use stuff. I mean, you seem to have a very varied collection. Incognito says, my budget only allows me to buy a new knife every 2 months, but don't buy a new knife so I can buy a new games. Oh, new games. Games. Do you mean like these kind of games people play on their television? Is that with the little controller in their hand? No, I'm just kidding. That's cool. I'm glad I haven't gone down that hole. I did for a short while with Call of Duty, and I feel like I could lose control with that. So I'm glad I didn't. Sean says, majority of my collections are Riot made. Those are fine knives. That's Riot made. And it's got 2 edges. Sean, do you like the Riot brand, like the in-house designs more, or do you buy Riot made knives by designers whose customs are either impossible to get or just out of reach? I'm curious. Shane, I've got a knife to give away tonight if you're interested, Bob. Yes, I am. We can give it away right here on the show. I was just double checking the knife cam. Sorry, I'm distracted by that. Yes, Shane, why don't you come on? Go to the knifejunkie.com/join and show me what you have to give away. And then we'll figure out a way to do it. Okay. Knife Cam is fine. He says in all caps, it's fine. Okay. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I just noticed the chat. I'm looking at myself more, just looking at myself here. Ketmuk says, I have certain makers and certain blade shapes I'm really into, but I'm always seeing other knives that make it on my list of wants. Always seeing, yeah. This show helps diversify my taste. Well, thank you. Well, not that that's directly a compliment, but I'm glad. I think the to each his or her own. That's my philosophy, as the song goes. But I think that they're all very, very interesting. I guess my true love are the tactical, the more military or tactical style knives. But there are plenty of other great, I love all the EDC knives. I love the little Finch knives. They're so charming and useful. And yeah. So until you hit triple digits in collecting, you need to buy, you need to only buy more. I would agree with you. But how high in the triple digits? Do you guys know Keith Kevin Ken on YouTube? I mean, that guy seems to have an endless, he has every Spyderco, I think. And I saw recently on Instagram, he's trying to pare down his collection ever so slightly. But I mean, he's got at least 1,000 knives, I'm guessing. And he catalogs and counted them recently, actually. And he's got every version of every Spyderco, I swear. KB, good to have you here, KB. Buy Microtech only. They have the best resale value. Funny you should mention Microtech. I was feeling this knife right before the show, and so I pulled it out and started to. Well, I just had it out thinking Microtech might come up. So if you've been living in a cold, dark place and you don't know what a Microtech is, here's one. This is an awesome one. And it's a full, 2 inches shorter than what I expected. I bought it thinking I was buying the Combat Troodon, and I was like, wow, I got this for a great price. I'm such a savvy shopper. And it showed up, and I was like, where is it? But actually, I've very much fallen in love with this little knife. It's a 3-inch blade, right? 3 inches. Yeah, 3-inch blade. But man, it is so sweet. Still wouldn't mind to have the Combat Troodon, though. Maybe in a different blade shape. Oh, by the way, the UTX and the Ultratech have the coolest Tanto design, I think. And then you get to the Combat Troodon. They did something to the design of the Tanto blade that I don't like. I can't put my finger on it. I think it might be the humped spine or something. Not sure. Blade Hobby says, I keep my collection to 10 knives. That's awesome. And often sell or trade to try new things. I like everything sharp and don't just collect one type of knife. Okay, I said 10 knives because that's like, you can bench 500 pounds. Like, to me, that's a feat. I'm like, that is the kind of discipline I'm aiming for. And, radically failing at. But that's what I would like, like in concept or in theory, that's what I would really like, to have 10 really outstanding knives. I would probably make it a dozen, or maybe 2 or 3 dozen. But 400 to 500 really excellent knives. No, I'm just kidding. But Blade, I respect that. I often sell or buy. Yeah, so you don't get attached, right? They're not things. They're not pets. They're not humans. They're not people. They are tools. Kane says, currently I am whittling, I like it, whittling my collection down. But who knows what the near future holds. I could end up going buck wild and end up heading the other direction. It is a slippery slope, It depends, like Incognito Griffin was saying, he's into gaming. And so, if you have other interests that cost money, you have to balance what goes where. How, luckily knives are my only real. I mean, I like I have a couple of bass guitars, but I don't aim to become a bass collector. Though that would be cool, maybe maybe if we got a new house, I'd have a room devoted to bass guitars and just have a whole bunch of them that I hardly ever play on the walls. That'd be cool. But luckily for me, it's just knives. So I don't have to decide between, games or knives. Nick says, I will within 2 years have every Jade Blade HQ exclusive Spyderco. I'm up to 5 right now. So do you have the smock, Nick? Did you get the smock, or is it available yet? I saw that Mr. Smock himself was showing it off on Instagram, but I'm not sure if it's been released to the hoi polloi yet. But it looks cool. I got to say, I got to be 100% honest. I'm not crazy about the look of the smock, even though I know it's an excellent knife. Not crazy about how it looks, but when I saw it in Jade G10 with the black blade, I was like, maybe I need to reconsider. It looks pretty damn cool, and I like what they did with the button and the compression lock. Jared says, I haven't sold one knife, and I'm scared to count how many I have. Very diverse collection. If it's sharp and pointy, I'm in. So I think you need to move into swords and tomahawks, and I'm just presuming that you haven't. I feel like I pull out my other bladed weapons a lot, and it's great to have. It's great to have a tomahawk like this here, Back Ripper by Wingard Wearables. If you have a lot of knives and you're starting to wonder where things are headed, maybe you need to get one of these just to have. Big Staff says, Phase. I just got out of a Benchmade kick. Nice. I always go back to Benchmade. That was my first. They will always have a place in my heart. That's cold steel for me. Big Staff. That's cold steel for me. I haven't gotten a cold steel in a little while. I guess the last one I got was the 4-inch Chris. That's a 2021 knife. But now that they're re-releasing the Talwar and the 5.5-inch, I will definitely have to get that. But I feel like I made a rule a while ago, and I've disobeyed it a little bit, which is no cold steel folders unless they're in the 5.5 to 7.5-inch range, because no one else does that. Kershaw does it a little. Some dabble in it, but no one has done it like cold steel. So to me, that's their USP, and so that's where I'm trying to keep it. And then they reel me back in with something that's less than 5 inches. But I get it. You're a Benchmade guy at heart. I'm a cold steel guy at heart. That doesn't mean I don't love a lot of other stuff. Dave says, got a little bit of everything but customs. Pushing 300 now. Will contract to get into a few customs. That Michael Barbuto Falcata fixed blade is beautiful. So Dave DM'd me a picture of this amazing fixed blade called the Falcata, kind of Falcata-esque, if you will, if you could update it and turn it into a smaller knife, by his friend, or by Miguel Barbuto, who, right? Is that who that was from? The guy who did the Blachau? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So Dave has a very varied collection, all of them, with a bit of menace. Dave is a Kali guy, so they all have a sort of martial aspect to them. But I think you're in a good position having 300 plus knives. Now you can sell off the ones that you don't like so much, and get that awesome Miguel Barbuto. Shane says, Bob, you want to give away a knife tonight? I will supply it and ship it. Yes, sir. Let's give away a knife. What is it? You tell me, Shane. Do you want me to give it away this very same night? Or do you want me to do you want this to be a Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway? Let me know. I'd be interested. And what is the knife? Or you could go to theknifejunkie.com/join and just come on and show it off. I'd love to meet you in person. Redacted says, I have a simple goal for my quote-unquote collection. I want to have an XM18. That is a good goal. It is good to keep your goals. Well, I don't want to say realistic, because maybe that's not the right word, but within reach, but also, something you have to reach for. so that you I'm not presuming you don't know how to save up, but so that you save up, and so that it becomes something that's not like, oh yeah, I'll just get an XM18 and it's pretty good, but that you really want it, you get it, and it's like, yes, this purchase was worth it. That was me with this Hinderer XM24. This was my realization that I had all of these zero tolerance knives designed by Rick Hinderer that I spent a whole bunch of money on, and if I just sold them, I could actually have a real XM, and that's what I did. Nick Martino, I'm into tool knives and houseplants. Well, that's cool. That's a great combination. Houseplants. I wish I had a green thumb. I think if I really put my mind to it, I could, but it's not oozing from me. But those are two good things. And, not for nothing, houseplants can get pretty pricey, but not pocket knife pricey. So those seem like two good complementary habits. Collection things. Michael says, I guess I've been trying to get really good examples of each brand. That's a good way to go, Michael. That's a good way to go. Real good examples of each brand. That reminds me a little bit of, for a while, I wanted like just unique things, like all different kinds of locks and all different kinds of blade shapes and all different kinds of, as if I were running a museum, the DeMarco Museum of Knives. And I have since stopped doing that so much, just buying a knife for its differentness and trying to stick to ones I know I'm going to carry. But I totally understand that. Incognito says, yeah, I play video games, but mostly play with my cousins in a way to bond when you're not close to each other. Oh, that's cool. That is amazing. Actually, that's one of those amazing things. I'm of an era that I can't believe that we can video chat, that you can make a phone call and see someone. I know I'm dating myself, but I think that's cool that you can keep up with your cousins that way. Sean says, I'll buy a knife, then later on find out it's Riot made. The quality is really there. Got you. Do you have any Peñas? I love his knives. I don't have any, and those are Riot made, at least the ones that he doesn't make, and I'd really like to get one. Also enjoy hunting down medium toothpicks. That's a hard knife to find. Usually the toothpicks are real small, or you can get, do I have a big one? They're either real small or real large, like this Rough Rider. But yeah, the mediums they're kind of like unicorns, right? That's pretty cool. What brand toothpick are you into? Shane says, I'm not prepared to join, but I've got an off-grid Sea Dog that I'm giving away. Okay, awesome. I love off-grid knives, and I've been showing off a lot of off-grid knives. Like this one and others. I would love to give away that Sea Dog. Let's see. Let's see how. You know what? Let's do it. This will be won't be a Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway because I've already given away a Sea Dog for Gentleman Junkie. Let's just give it away next week, next Thursday night, and we'll figure out how to do that. Like what the mechanism will be. I'm gonna write this down. Sea Dog giveaway. Shane, and contact me through Instagram, DM me, and let's talk about this offline. We'll circle back and talk about this offline. Okay, Sea Dog. Thank you, sir. That's greatly appreciated. I know people will love it, and we'll or you know what? We can give it away in 2 weeks. You can send it to me, and then we'll do a little. We'll get people interested in it before we do it, and you and I can have a conversation offline and figure out how you want to do this. So that's awesome. Thank you, sir. Incognito says, I tell myself I have no preferences on knife companies, but my first not gas station knife was cod steel. I'm just kidding. Cold steel. So much of my folding and fixed blades are cold steel. Well, I mean, yeah. I get it. Believe me, I get it. They have such a wide variety of designs, and Incognito, if you're into anything historical or martial, they have it because Lynn Thompson is such a nerd with his weapons, and he has such an amazing personal collection apparently, and that's where he gets all these historical designs and ideas. So I really I appreciate that. Have you done pocket check? Yes, we have, but that doesn't mean we can't have your pocket check, Hag. What are you carrying, sir? The double edge with serration on one side is the only way I'd own a serrated knife. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Even if you were buying, like, say, a Cold Steel, which we were talking about, purely for self-defense. And I know you're going to say I wouldn't do that, but just say you would. Would you get a serrated knife then and have it be single edge? I'm just curious. Poncho 151, great to have you here. I've got so many different knives, but I've also really honed in on what I like. But I now have a lot of budgetish knives that I would gladly sell, but don't have time for selling right now. That is a thing. Unless you're tied into some buying, selling, trading community, that you can just easily just post it and just kind of let it go. You do have to kind of manage it. And then with the budgety knives, you have to balance shipping costs versus what you can realistically charge for a used budgety knife. And that usually means lots. Why, hello. Great to have you here, sir. We have Marcus Williamson here. I just held up his knife, the Merlin. I love this thing. It's always close at hand. Great to have you here, sir. Nick says, my goal right now is to acquire every model Blade HQ did in the Jade Spyderco. I give myself 2 years and I'll have them all. I'll have them all. I love that. That's the way to think of it. The correct number of knives to own is the number you currently own plus 1. Yes, agreed. Or let's be fair and just call it like plus 5, just in case you have a couple of irons in the fire. You know what I mean? That's how custom collectors do it, I think. I always say never count your knives or anything you collect. That path leads to tears. Yeah, don't count them, and definitely don't tabulate how much it's all worth, or how much, not what it's worth, but what you paid. Because that is not good. Because then you start thinking about all the things, all the trips you could have taken, or all the dinners you could have taken your wife on, or what have you. Shane says, I've given away over $1,000 in knives in the past year. Never sold one, but I've traded a couple. That's awesome, man. That's very generous of you. I like to give away knives too. Not with great frequency, but it feels good. And a lot of the times, it just kind of is easier in a way. Like remember that, what was that? A Schrade dagger I had here where you could actually bend the blade. I just gave that to my brother. I'm like, hey Vic, you want a cheap dagger? He's like, sure. So I sent it to him. Now it's part of his stash at home. Nick says, I want a custom Allen Foltz EDC knife with G-Carta scales. Nice. The only Allen Foltz that comes to mind is the Minimalist. And man, I love the Minimalist, and the custom ones are really, really cool. That'd be a great thing to have. Incognito says, Cold Steel will always be the best when making some Dundee size folders. Other companies, if they want to really compete with that, have a lot of catching up to do, because Cold Steel has just been doing it for so long. Not to be vain, but looking to buy a knife every couple of months in the Medford price points. So what are we talking, like 500? But that's not vain, Sean. That's just where you happen to be, and where everyone's in a different spot, with their collections and stuff. But do you mean like the $500, $700 mark, something like that? Hag 90, what's your guys' thought on the Bug Out by Benchmade? I have the chance to pick one up. By far, yes. First of all, you got to tell us what your pocket check is, Hag. But yes, without reservation, yes. And the cool thing about the bug out now is there are millions, not millions. There are many options for new handle scales. Right now on Blade HQ, they have a whole bunch. I think they're from Flytanium, but I'm not sure, come to think of it. But they have a whole bunch of different metal materials and different sculpted handles. And I have on mine, I have Alan Putnam micarta scales. Yes, by all means, get yourself a bug out. I think probably everyone here would agree with that. Wolfpack Mixed Martial Arts, good to have you here. How realistic do you think cold steel knives are for self-defense? I mean, I guess the question really is, how realistic are knives for self-defense? And of course, that has to do with the situation you're in and your training and also your experience. Training is a great thing, but also if you've been getting in fights your whole life and you know how to keep your cool, sometimes that might beat training. Someone who's trained for years but hasn't been in all those street fights. All of that being said, I think cold steels are awesome for self-defense because, the guy who's designed most of them, whether it's Lynn Thompson, who came up with many of the ideas, or Andrew Demko, who has designed many of the knives over the past 10 to 15 years. Both of those guys are experienced martial artists. Andrew Demko more on the Aikido side, and Lynn Thompson in Kali and other bladed martial arts. But yeah, man, I would say cold steel is very good for self-defense. But a lot of knives are, but cold steel, that's kind of their métier. Niche Design, Nick, great to have you here. I can confirm houseplants are indeed knife pricey. Really? Oh, rare tropicals, easily $1,000+. Oh man. Okay. All right. So, man, you can go down any sort of rabbit hole. We're not just talking about spider plants that you clip from someone at work and take home and grow. You can, I see what you're saying. Tropical, especially because you probably also have to get special lights and stuff and have it humid and really take care of it in that way. Blade Hobby, my grail is this XM24 Bowie. That will be my collection goal for the time being. I have a beautiful one right over there, and it took me a long time to find that. So I'm not saying this with any sort of snickering or sarcasm. Good luck. You'll find one eventually. Just keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, those the Bowies are pretty hard to come by. Shane Gable says, I can't fidget due to neuropathy, so I concentrate on steel and sharpness. So what's your favorite steel? Sharpness. And is it steel, sharpness, and geometry? Are you a geometry nerd? I'm not dissing geometry nerds. And I think of any sort, whether it be mathematics or knives. But do you, so it's all of that stuff. But what's the steel that you prefer? We'll just say on a pocket knife, on a folding knife. James says, my collection desperately needs to shrink. Your collection desperately needs a Wharncliffe and a Tanto, but I will beat that drum for a while. Every time I get an expensive knife, I tell myself I'm going to sell a few knives. Why hasn't that happened yet? That's what I was talking about before. It's like, well, I better just get this now because this opportunity won't come up. And I've really been meaning to sell these 3 over here. So this is a good excuse to actually unload these 3. And then the knife shows up, and then those 3 just seem to still stick around. Ever seen The Jerk when Steve Martin walks around and picks up? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all I need. And this lamp, yes, I know. What a great movie. He really hates those cans. One of the best movies of all time, says Jan. I agree. That is such a funny movie. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Nick Martino says, I find myself buying certain knives after watching certain makers and knife companies on different podcasts. That's cool. I hope mine is one of those. Sup, y'all? Hey, Dirk, back from paradise. Sorry I'm late. Been a crazy week. I don't know if you guys have been following Dirk's escapades over in Hawaii, but he was there with his love. And man, every Instagram post that went up, I was like, man, I'm doing it all wrong. I should be going to a pig roast right now, like on the beach after a day of ziplining through the jungle. Man, that looked like an awesome trip. Congratulations on, everything. That's awesome. Hollywood Tactical says, not counting knives and not tracking budget. Of course, I don't. Wait. Okay. I gotta read this right. Not counting knives and not tracking budget. Of course I don't, but this is the Knife Junkie show. This is like crackheads advising each other on getting clean. Couldn't have said it better. A good friend of mine in college once said, I think I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the big issue was with me, but it was something on a moral level, and I wanted a certain answer. And he said, and I asked him, and he told me I should do it. And I was like, I don't know if I should do it. And he's like, well, you choose your advice when you choose your advisor. I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. I knew you were a bit of a cad, and you're right, Hollywood Tactical. That is exactly right. We're like a bunch of crackheads advising each other on getting clean. Not too, yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it right there. Ian, good to have you. ENG EDC. I auto transfer $100 every biweekly payday to pay for knives. Seems like a reasonable budget to me. Hey man, whatever works in your budget is great. I think doing, the auto transfers are awesome. I don't do that for knives. But my wife does that for, savings and different, she's got a million different funds, that she puts our money into. I love those auto transfers. Yeah. We'd be living in a cave without her. Dirk says, Beg Knives Field Marshal with Damasteel blade in the pocket today. Very nice. Beg Knives Field Marshal. I love the way that looks. I love Beg Knives. We were talking about over-designed knives a few weeks ago, and one could argue that Beg Knives sometimes tend towards the over-designed, but I love them. Just like maybe some of the direware, like the direware I borrowed from you, Dirk, you might consider it over-designed, but man, do I love it. It's just so beautiful. Hag, Pocket Check is Combative Edge SR11 Plain Edge and Extreme Ratio BFOCD. Don't know what the BFOCD is, but the SR11 is cool. That's that Tanto by Combative Edge, right? I like that knife. Never had it, but I do have the M1. I hadn't thought about it until now. This is Poncho saying, I hadn't thought about it until now, but who's behind the design wheel at Cold Steel now? I'm curious to see what the future designs look like. I don't know. I know Andrew Demko doesn't work for them anymore, and he's designed a lot of the recent classics. And, I'm sure they will maintain the spirit of Lynn Thompson. So maybe because they've featured him in a lot of videos and stuff like that. So maybe Lynn Thompson from the comfort of his ranch or something will send off designs. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I'm looking to get Keith Stickman from GSM and Cold Steel to come on the show, and that's a question I would ask him for sure. Hollywood Tactical says, I EDC'd my M-Tech button lock again. LOL. Love the action. Sharp enough to cut any package in the Western US. Okay, so is this the one that a number of people recently have gotten? I'm thinking of a Knife Whisperer video where he got one. A number of other people got them. They're very super, like a recurve, Tanto, tactical, heavy, big thing. I'm wondering if that's the same one. Nick, yours absolutely is every Sunday. I pray your podcast will run 2 hours. Oh, please. Tell me about my eyes, Nick. I'm just kidding. Thank you. That is, wow, that's such a compliment. And I know it's partially a compliment to me, so I'll accept that. But really, I mean, it's a testament to how interesting these people are that keep agreeing to come on the show. I mean, we just have some really interesting guys guys and gals coming on. I say gals because I'm going to be talking to Marianne Halpern again next week of TRM Knives, one of my favorite people that I've met in this whole knife world, and I'm looking forward to talking to her again. Sean says, I thought this was a support. Yeah, it is a support group. Hi, my name is Sean Lowkey, and I have way too many knives. Incognito says, cold steel for self-defense is like using a fire hydrant for watering roses. I've got no experience in self-defense, but I did fend off against 2 stray dogs using my Tanto machete and put one down with ease. Damn. Wow. That's a story, man. I would love to hear that story. Yeah, I have no doubt that a machete would stop, a well-placed hack from a machete would stop a stray dog. That's one hell of a story. I was once walking in, hang on, I'll read this in a second, but it just reminds me, and at my age, I might just forget if I don't tell this story. And I think I've probably told it, but I was walking in Brooklyn once on the way to a party, and I walked by this empty lot, and this giant pit bull lunged to the end of its chain, and it was only a little more than arm's reach away. And this thing, man, it was snarled and just these 4 or 5 guys just laughed at me as I walked by. But man, I could just feel the blood drain. It was like one of the most primal experiences. It was like a monster was ready to devour me all of a sudden, and I'm just walking on the way to a party. I wish I had that Tanto machete. I would have dispatched them all without exception. Hollywood Tactical says, you choose your advice when you choose your advisor. Wow, golden. Hashtag true story. It's true. You want someone to tell you, yeah, man, it's no big deal. Go ahead. You should do it. Then you know the friend to ask to get that advice. You also know who's going to say, that's the wrong thing. You shouldn't do that. And when you don't want to hear that, you will avoid that person. Begs are the best, says Caleb Townsend. Man, I have no experience with it. I would love to get a field grade bodega. I mean, if someone said, I will give you a Todd Begg knife right now, I would say field grade bodega, and like maybe olive drab handles. I think Jim Skelton had one like that. I know he had a red one, but I think he had a green one too. That fellow there popping in and out of the live stream. Sorry, I'll have to watch on playback. Well, John, you have a pleasure. Thank you for your service, sir. And also thank you for loaning me this very cool sheepdog. I've always been curious about the sheepdog. I've always been curious about the old Emerson flippers. And now my curiosity has been quelled. If this were mine, I think I would trim down the flipper tab just a little. Purely aesthetics. I saw someone on Instagram had done that. I thought it looked great. So I'd probably do that. I would probably also get the drop point version of this in mini. I really do like the Emerson mini knives for some reason. I like how Emerson designs shrink down. So that's probably what I do. Bob, how often do you carry that Wingard Hawk? I never carry it except around the house. I mean, so I go out on occasion, maybe once or twice a week. I go out on the back porch and smoke me a cigar. I always take this with me just in case. It's that stray dog scenario. And then I keep the Empress by the bed, the Empress Tomahawk. That's the Spontoon. But I don't carry these in the waistband. I know Zach says it's easy to do, and I know he's got it down, but I just can't get used to carrying a Tomahawk in my pants. I think maybe it's the skinny jeans that I wear. I'm just kidding. I don't wear skinny jeans, but in any case, these don't quite fit into my lifestyle in terms of EDC, but frequently I'll put it in my backpack and take it take it around with me. Let me just put it that way, just in case anyone's watching from work. But yeah, this will ride in my backpack frequently because you don't know what might come up. So I highly, highly suggest a back ripper or an Empress Tomahawk. What was that last one? I'm sorry, man. I love skinny jeans, says Hag. Oh man. I would look like a fool in the skinny jeans, I gotta say. Chris Lower, good to have you here. Beautiful Emerson, just received a modded tactical Quaken. God, I love that knife. On skiff bearings, I love it. That is a cool knife. I almost bought one at Blade Show, but I mean, I had already spent a lot of money, but I had never had the Quaken in hand, and I've never had a Persian in hand. I love that Persian. And so I checked it out, and it was great. That fellow there says, yes, we need a video on best Bowie knives for skinny jeans. Yes. Yes, indeed. The best in the waistband. Don't diss the skinny jeans. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying they're not for me. I think that the human body, well, you know what? This is what it is. KC Beam 123, the Super 8 is the bomb. Yes, I need to get an 8 back in my life. Had a Horseman, had an 8, got rid of both of them, regretted it. Regretted both of them. The Horseman stayed in the family. A friend of mine has that now. But, they say you're trapped in your fashion tastes in your 20s, when you're getting the girls, or, when you're out there and you're like, and for me, that was in the 90s. And so for me, in the 90s, a lot of 70s fashion was kind of rotating back through. So it was bootcut jeans. And so that's where I've stayed, man. I've stayed in my 20s with the bootcut jeans. And incidentally, they fit over my boots well. So to me, that's what looks better, is a slight, and I have skinny legs too. So skinny jeans on skinny legs, I don't know. So anyway, Poncho 151 says, my wife would make me walk 10 feet away from her and the kids if I left the house with a tomahawk in my waistband. Yes, me too. My wife actually is, she's very funny. She loves the quill I got her from Wingard Wearables, but whenever I will take this with the guards on and, slide it in my waistband at home, like when we're going out, because we both go out onto the porch. And, she'll bring her wine and I'll bring my cigar and we'll just chat. But I always bring this, and when I put it in she says, so ridiculous. EDC Tomahawk, so ridiculous. And I'm like, but look at it. She's like, I'm not saying the Tomahawk itself is ridiculous. I'm saying the concept is ridiculous. And I'm like, you just don't know. You just don't know. I don't think it's ridiculous. I think it's kind of cool. I just can't do it. That's all. Blade Hobby says, I need an Emerson Bowie blade shape. Love the look. Yes. I do too. I'm saying these two, and I also absolutely love the Appalachian, which is just 4 feet away from me in my knife cabinet. I just can't reach it from here, but the Appalachian is probably, I might argue, the most readily available Bowie right now by them. And man, is it beautiful with that upswept tip. That one I got from Brian from Slicey Dicey. Gave me a nice little deal on it. He bought it. He knew who to go to when he had to sell it, because it wasn't up his alley, wasn't his cup of tea, and he knew who to reach out to. So people tend to do that, or they'll send it to me. And then I'll be like, oh, I really like this. And they'll say, oh, you want it? And then I'll be like, well, geez, it's in my possession now. I guess I better. As you know, we have a listener line, 724-466-4487. Call that listener line. Tell me what you're carrying. Or tell me a story. You know what? Call the listener line and tell me a dumb knife story. Something you did that was really stupid. I'll give you one right here. The one about how I was trying to impress a bunch of people with my great collie skills, and someone presented me with a sword cane. Oh, check this out, Bob. And I was like, oh, cool. Created a little circle. You could do this. You could do this. And I stabbed myself in the calf, and it went in about, I don't know, 2 inches or so, and it bled quite a bit. And I just sort of left it in and walked out the door. I lived right down the hall at the time in an apartment building, and took care of it. I was blind, stumbling drunk, so it didn't really hurt at the moment. But man, did it throb for weeks. Stupid knife story. Call me on the listener line, 724-466-4487. Leave a message. How cool would it be to have a little audio montage. What's that called? That's called something. How cool would it be to have an audio montage of stupid knife stories? I'd love it. I'd love it. So please do that. I know you all have them. I have a number of them. So call. I'd really love to hear them. If you don't want your voice going out there, please, can I read it online? That would be fun. I would love to do that. Emerson Super Roadhouse has been on my get list for years. Yes, I would love. I don't have a Roadhouse. To me, it is an even better looking Tanto blade than the 7. I know I might be ruffling some feathers there, but I think the Roadhouse with that upswept blade is just a beautiful, beautiful Tanto. Hollywood Tactical says, at the Knife Junkie, I just got the Tops Microhawk, and it is very EDCable. The top of it, oh yeah, that's right. The top of it is sharpened to be able to use as a knife blade, designed by an Alaskan bush pilot to maximize weight and size. That is cool. I have been noticing that with the sharpened top edge and everything. That's cool. I'd love to see that, or I'd love to get that. Where do you find your Emersons, Bob? Every time I even try to look, they're sold out. I've gotten many of mine on Blade forums, just people selling them on Blade forums. There was a time where whenever I saw one, I'd try and buy it, and I succeeded a few times. So yeah, check out Blade forums. But I know that Edwin has said that the Emerson Facebook group is awesome and a great place to pick them up. That fellow there says, at Blade Hobby, check out Action Concepts. I've gotten a few from them. Great folks. Awesome. Casper, good to have you here. I think I will buy the Stingray Tomahawk. Oh man, I can't wait till that's done. I can't wait till they're ready. So I just in speaking to Zach, they have a very long R&D process, and I think they're nearing. I know he widened out this part. I know he was working on that because he intends it to be a throwing tomahawk, and when it lands, when it ka-chunks into whatever it's being thrown into, it places a lot of stress on this juncture, and he wanted to make it as strong as possible. So he's been reforging having his prototype reforged to have a bigger one of these things, holes. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That is a cool looking tomahawk, though it will not have the wearable aspect of a Wingard wearable, as the spike will be straight for throwing purposes. Hollywood Tactical says, I'll go live after this and show the Tops Microhawk. Nice. Okay. I want to check it out. That sounds great, man. Blade Ogre says, yeah, it's going to be late for me. I might have to watch it on the replay. Blade Ogre says, got my Emerson Sheepdog Bowie directly from the Emerson site. Could even choose what I wanted. Oh, cool. Yeah, I have gotten, the only one I got from the site, from their site itself, was the Elvia, which is such a sweet knife, this thing. Okay, speaking of the Elvia, this is a great sort of segue. So here's the Elvia. You can see it's a Ed's Manifesto style and Ed Calderon collaboration. It's that sort of Pical style fruit knife. A lot of people think it looks like a knife with a broken stop pin. Wait, Poncho says, collection related question for you, Bob. What percentage of your collection was bought new versus secondhand? I'd say 60% new, 40% secondhand at this point. That's probably, yeah, maybe 70-30. Maybe 70-30. 70 being new, 30 being, I've gotten a lot of used knives because, well, I don't know, somewhere in there. Let's say 65-35. So I'm showing off this, hey, Chris Lower, good to have you. Am I the only one that purchased the new DLT exclusive Crewwear Tough? I see they're still in stock and I'm shocked. I love the concept. I thought that was going to go like lickety split. I would love to get that knife. I always thought the Tough was pretty cool. I didn't like the divots drilled on the lock side. I'm glad to see they're not there on this version. JN, I gotta go, y'all. Have a knife night. Thanks, Bob and Jim. JN, always a pleasure, man. Thank you for your participation. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate that. And I hope to see you here next week, man. All right, take care. Casper says, nice. I really enjoy my Empress. Oh, yes. Me too. Me too. And I think we were talking about the guy, and now his name escapes me, but the archery guy on Instagram who's really good with leather, who has that really cool shoulder holster rig that he's making, where he can have a knife on one side and the Empress on the other. Someone call in and tell us a story. Yeah, so the listener line goes right to a recording. So you're going to record it and then we'll play it. But that would be awesome. I really want that. That fellow there says that's still the coolest version of the Elvia I've seen. Those scales are epic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you know Tom's work. Even down to that cool backspacer with the point. Love it. So here is my other folding Pikal style knife. This is the one that I keep flashing on screen that I traded with Dave for. And this thing is awesome. So this is a Dirk Pinkerton design. I also have this Dirk Pinkerton Pikal custom fixed blade that I love so much. But this thing is really awesome. It's got a reverse Tanto blade here. And because really it does look like a Tanto if you hold it like that. Okay. All right. I admit it. I still think it's a lazy moniker, but look, see, it has a flipper, which is cool. But it ships with two different thumb discs. One of them is sort of a vanilla little plate that sits here, but this one is brass and stands out, looks cool, and also, as you can tell, pocket deploys. As you pull it out, you can wave it open, and this knife is intended to be used as a self-defense knife like this, tip down, edge in. He did the Biden whisper. But also I find it works really well like this. It's actually not bad, for just regular non-vanquishing your foes kind of tasks. I love this knife. Thanks to Dave for making that trade. This beautiful titanium handle, terraced in such a cool looking way. Billy Spar, good to have you here, Billy. Something about the lines on those blade styles, very cool and probably very useful. I agree. They are arresting at first. I remember when I saw my first, I was like, I think it was the Spyderco Pikal was the first one that I really noticed like that. What is that? I don't get it. But since, I've fallen in love with them. Actually, I just ordered one, a new one by JB Cutlery. Is it JB Cutlery? Yeah, JB Cutlery, I think. JB Blades on Instagram. And he's a big guy amongst the Libra fighting guys. And that's a martial art that really optimizes this blade style. And I'm very excited about that. This is going to be a few weeks, but I got it double-edged like this one because, double is better than single. ENG EDC. Yeah, but when the thing comes out, foes must be vanquished. That's right. Yeah, if you pull this out to cut your sandwich, you better find a foe post-haste to make it worth pulling out. That is menacing for sure. Well, what's kind of interesting is that it's menacing, but it's also in this sort of modern... luxurious sort of style, the titanium and the ball bearings and the what is this, S35? I think it's S35EN. Yeah. So it's in the sort of luxury realm, if you will, but it's also got that nasty style, and I just love it. So very, very happy to have that here in the collection. And it's interesting, the different angles that people will place these blades. Like this one really reaches out and really maximizes your ability to contact your target because it's working on that gross motor, motion. And it reaches out. What can I say? Really like these knives. Thank you for liking them along with me. Sheepdog showed that. Let's see. Have you seen those Rich Made ratchets? They're just posted some on Knife Center. Basically, a massive folder with a hatchet blade. Yes, I have. They are crazy. I agree. I think there was a time where I would have gone for that. Now is not that time, but I saw a funny video. I'm not sure if it's the guy who makes them, but he flipped it open with his pinky finger, because at the bottom or at the front of the blade, there's an opening, there's a hole kind of like on a cleaver. And when it's closed, you can put your pinky in there if it's strong enough and flip it open that way. Thought that was a funny video. Yeah. So let's see here. Well, yeah, if you like what we do here, please go check out Patreon if you want to be a part of the Gentleman Junkie giveaway, which is a monthly thing every Thursday here on Thursday Night Knives. Not every third Thursday. Not every Thursday, but every third Thursday here on Instagram, we give away a knife to the Gentleman Junkies. Jim creates the Wheel of Destiny with everyone's name on it. We spin it, and you get a knife. And Dave, this old sword blade reviews, Dave has donated some really cool knives to the channel for giveaway. Next one will be August 19th, just after my birthday, just after Nick Martino's birthday, just after Jim's birthday, but right before my brother's birthday. A lot of great people in August. Click the like button, as Hag says. Thank you, sir. Thank you for looking out. Assuming you're a sir. Casper, have you ever been the knife? Have you ever seen the Knife Factory Crow Car knife? Not sure I have. We're gonna see right now. Crow Car. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, I have. That thing is. There was a time that I lusted after that knife when I was really into hawkbills. I do like hawkbill knives, even still, as you can see. But man, that thing is huge. It is beautiful, though. It's a beautiful. I've never had a custom Knife Factory knife. I would like to change that. There is one that in particular that has always really turned me on, and I can never remember the name of it, but it's a clip point and it's got a nail neck. And I don't know if you can open it, like if it front flips or has any other way, but it's a nice size, really nicely shaped handle, and a really compelling clip point blade with a nail neck. Love it. So next, I just want to talk real quickly about the new CRKT Pete, because I love this knife. I got the Pete from Christine. You know her as Women Carry Knives. I commented maybe too much, maybe on her video on this knife, and I said how handsome I thought it was, how cool it was, how very Vox it is, and she sent it to me, and I thought that was really cool. So naturally, this will never leave my collection, but not only did I like the way it looked, but having it, I really like this knife a lot. And this is also one that I'm considering giving for non-knife friends. The Pete makes a great knife for that purpose. If it's got the blue backspacer, you know it's G10. I mean 8CR13 MOV. If it has the bronze or copper or as gold backspacer, it's D2. Well, now they have a version, because they don't mark it on the blade. Now they have a version coming out that is blue handled in D2. Wait. Yeah, blue handled in D2. Huh. Wait a sec. So wait, what's the gold? What's the gold backspacer? I know this is 8CR13 MOV. Anyway, so this is it right here, and it's in D2, and it definitely is an upgrade from 8CR13 MOV. But now I'm forgetting what their other the upscale from this 8CR model is. I could look it up, but I'm not going to right now. What I wanted to talk about is how good this looks with that sort of sky blue, that sort of pale grayish blue. I think it looks awesome. It's like a Prussian blue with white mixed into it. And this is one of those few knives that I don't mind a GRN handle. It actually really makes the knife very, very light. It's got great grip, and it seems pretty stout. And I think it's because it's got the metal, the steel liners in it. But the Pete, this is just a great knife, and I'm really happy to see that that they have an upgraded version of this. So check it out. This is a new CRKT upgraded Pete from that article was Knife News. And if you don't know Knife News, well, you should, because they are awesome. And Benjamin over there, Ben Schwartz at Knife News, is an excellent, excellent writer. I mean, he writes a new article every day, a couple of new articles every day about knives. And man, this is the sign of a good writer. I mean, he finds a way to make every new knife article or every new description of a knife interesting. I mean, he's probably already written 2 articles on the Pete, but he made this article seem new and fresh. So he's awesome. I'd really like to get him on the podcast. I asked him once a long time ago, and he was a little busy, and so he couldn't. But I still would love to have him on the show and talk to him. Northcote recently bobbled my Spartan Harzy folder in the kitchen. And landed in my right palm. 11 stitches later. Yowza. All right. Okay. So here's the bright side, Northcote, Ryan, if you will. Here's the bright side. I have bobbled knives. Every time I do that, I go like this and jump back, and it lands tip down on the floor. I'm betting that your hand did not break the tip off of the Harzy. And if there's any silver lining to really, really nastily cutting your hand on a very sharp knife, the 2 silver linings are, at least it was a Spartan Harzy and not some crappy kitchen knife or some stupid other knife that you don't like. At least it was the Spartan Harzy, A. And B, at least it didn't fall tip down on the floor or through your foot. I mean, by the time it would reach your foot, it might go all the way through. All that being said, I don't mean to make light of your injury. I hope you heal up right quick and get that knife back in your hand. Sorry to hear about the injury, but I'm also glad to hear you didn't break the tip off your knife like I do all the time. Nick Martino says, I can't wait to get one of Benny's knives. I'm not a traditional knife guy that much, but getting one of his, oh my God, I know, I cannot wait. And so now he's playing the waiting game, right? He's playing the waiting game because he's got to deal with Riyadh's production schedule. So we'll be seeing those a little less than a year, I think. ENG EDC, sacrifice self, save the knife. Yeah. Ryan's like, you son of a Blade Hobby. Bob, because of you and the interview you did with BGM Knives, I want a BGM Knives Quaken. Oh, okay. I didn't bring it out. The Quaken is awesome. And now, I want a couple of other knives by him. Someone posted, who was it? Someone posted, I can't remember who it was, a picture of a massive Bowie he made for them, totally custom. And it was nice. But I really I think his specialty is EDCable fixed blades, just great EDCable fixed blades. And I'd like to get that Warncliffe model he does, the one that looks kind of like a Yojimbo. That would be really cool. I would also like to reach out to him to have a few knives reground. He does amazing regrinds. You can see a couple. I think Jared Neve has done a few videos recently on some knives that were reground by him, and then he himself, John from BGM, John Miller, posted a couple of shots of videos of knives he's reground. You want to take that Spartan Harzy and put a nice hollow grind on it, man. He's the guy to send it to, I think. I mean, there are others, of course, but others like Josh at Razor Edge or Tom Crine, if they even take that work anymore, they're so busy doing their own knives now that I think, I don't mean to speak for them, but give BGM a look. He's been doing some awesome stuff. No, I'm not skipping the knife fight. I'm doing the thumb stud versus the hole open. So we're going to move on to the knife fight right now, and then we're going to wrap it up as we are nearing midnight here on the East Coast. And tonight's knife fight will be another me against me, thumb stud versus opening hole. And again, I came up with a brilliant concept for a knife fight, but I didn't think the positions through. So I do this with some frequency, and then I flounder or founder, whatever the word is, when it comes to the actual knife fight itself. So I am going to choose for thumb stud. Well, I don't have to choose any knife, but here are the two knives that are going to be featured here. Okay. Thumb stud will go first. Okay. All right. Thumb stud. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for inviting me. Here's my little time waster for inviting me to this esteemed forum. I'm here to argue for the superiority of the thumb stud in one-handed opening of pocket knives. The thumb stud allows for Nick's out. He's like, I'm out, man. The thumb stud allows for many different styles of opening. You can slow roll it, which is the most socially acceptable way to open a knife when you need to use it around people. And it also allows for flicking. Okay, you're saying the thumb hole does that too, Bob. And on a good knife, it allows for the spidey flick. What I'm trying to get at is this: it takes little effort to open the thumb stud knife because it protrudes from the blade. You don't need to bury your finger in and find that notch, and in doing so, apply a lot more pressure against the pivot in a perpendicular fashion, which will slow down the opening. You can just glide it open on the axis parallel to the blade itself. Parallel is superior. We all know that. So the other thing that people either forget or don't know is that with the right thumb stud like this and many cold steel thumb studs and Benchmade thumb studs, you can actually use the thumb stud to cam open the blade like a wave opener when you pull it out. If you have the right angle on the blade and it's got the right size thumb stud, there is another way you can open the thumb stud knife that the opening hole, just will never be able to achieve. So clearly the thumb stud is superior in all of the ways it can open a knife, and plus that last one. Also, not for nothing, but the fact that it's a positive thing, in other words, it's something added onto the blade, you can also embellish it. You can also come up with different shapes and different aesthetic, flourishes with that. Whereas the hole, you're removing something. And so there's nothing there. It's a void. So you can't really embellish a void. Okay. Okay, now the thumb opener. Thumb opener was the original one-hand opening method. It was seen on the round, round Spyderco Spidey hole, and it was the harbinger of things to come. And oftentimes, the first thing, like the first instinct, they say that your first instinct is your best instinct. Sometimes the first thing to come around is the superior thing. And in this case, it is the opening hole. Now, the opening hole, unlike what my very, very brilliant and handsome and extremely talented opponent was saying, well, you can do all of those things. Slow roll it. You can flick it. There would be no Spidey flick without the hole. the opening hole. I mean, people have adapted themselves to Spidey Flick, a thumb stud, but really it exists because of the thumb hole. And not for nothing, you can put a zip tie through there to auto open it off your pocket if that is something that's so important that you have to have it because you're so badass. You have to be able to open your knife like that. You can put a zip tie in there. There's nothing lost. So really, it is, if you like things that are not over designed, if you like things that are pure to their original form, you'll recognize that the thumb opening hole is superior. And also, you can change the shape of the hole. That's how you embellish it. So there you have it. Clearly, the thumb hole opening system is superior to the thumb stud. And scene. What do you think? What do you think? Who won? Open hole doesn't disrupt cutting. Oh, that was good. Weight relief. Yes, another one. And can create a thumb ramp. Oh, I see what you mean. In a sideways pinch grip. Is that what you mean? Oh, man. But the disrupting and the cutting. See what I mean? See what I mean? See what this half of me means? Holes over studs, I say by Bearded Gear. Yeah. Holes over studs. That's right. That is a thing he says. I say, why argue over either? I love having both in my collection. I find them both enjoyable. Well, I do too, sir. I do too. I just have to, sometimes arguing with yourself is the best way to resolve other issues, of which I have plenty. I could have mentioned I have two fullers here. I have this fuller and I have this fuller, both used for opening. So, I mean, that's almost a hole. It's like a divot. If you made it any deeper, it'd be a hole. So I like them both too. No need to argue. What do you think of this? Is this overkill? You got a flipper, a thumb plate, and a wave? Who knows? Could be too much. Thumb studs, says Ian. It's all about the accents or embellishments and knife jewelry. I can see where you're coming from. I don't totally agree. I tend to like things slightly more simple, but I do like the fact that with a thumb stud or a thumb plate like this, you can change it out. You can put a different one in there. Well, I mean, not all of them. This one you can, but some are pressure fit. And unless you're really super handy, probably not. But if I was going to choose, I'd take the hole. Yeah, I know you because of the Spyderco. You dig your Spydercos and those opening holes. Yep. I do like the lozenge shape on the Strider. So there you have it. Well, check us out on thenifejunkie.com, of course. And then we're also on Facebook. We're also live on Twitch. Did you know that? I'm just finding out what Twitch is. And I just think it's cool that Jim knows what it is and he has us up there. We're live on Twitch, Facebook, here on YouTube. Of course, we do Instagram. That's where we update. You can find out who's going to be on the podcast. You can look at pictures of my collection. Although I think your thumb stud argument won. Probably did. I think I have to do a little more looking into these arguments beforehand because oftentimes I argue against myself. Have a great one. Thank you, sir. Great, Marcus, to have you around here. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you shortly. Northcote Harzy has thumb studs, and look at what happened. Yeah, that's right. You know what, dude? You should probably just get that off your hands. You can send it this way. I'll take care of it until you feel ready to have it back in your collection. Sometimes something bites you and you kind of just don't want to see it. You don't want to be around it. You know what I mean? So you can send it here. I'll take good care of it. Yeah. Also, thanks for hosting. Always a pleasure. Take care. And Jeffrey A. Knife studs are for weak men. For weak men. Jeffrey, I couldn't agree with you more. You, sir, are a gentleman and a scholar. Fantastic show. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that compliment. I do indeed. Nick, thank you. Jim and Bob, I really look forward to Thursday Night Knives. Great show. Thank you. I do too. It's like my favorite time of the week. I love Thursday Night Knives. We just get to hang out and talk. Another great show. Thanks, Bob, says Clayton. Thank you, Clayton, for becoming a Gentleman Junkie. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Great job, Bob, says Blade Hobby. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming and joining in. Chris, another great show. Night, everybody. Good night, Blade Ogre. You have a lovely evening with your bowies, sir. Like I said again, check us out this weekend. Arcane Design, Israel Bacchus. Check it out. It's a great conversation. Michael Morgan, thank you. And thank you, one and all, including Jim. Thank you, Jim, for working your magic behind the switcher. And, well, I will see you all here next week. I am Bob DeMarco saying, don't take dull for an answer.